Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of our tutorial. For today's tutorial, I'll be teaching or I'll be showing you around the Pixellab app, right? Okay, so this app here is the Pixellab app, this one here, right? So I'll just click on open. But the particular one you might get from Play Store might not be of this color, but they also have the same features, so you don't have to worry. Now let's get started. Here is our project. Okay, sorry, first and foremost, this white place is what we call our canvas. This is where we have to design anything we want to design, right? This is where our designs are going to be. Then that being said, we go to my project. This is my project, is a place where all your projects has been saved. So if I open it now, you see all my projects, all the projects I've done are saved there, right? So but when you get your Pixellab newly, you will not find this my project place because you've not done any project yet. It is until you have done a project and saved it, that's when you have my project folder, right? Okay, so these are templates that you can choose to customize or edit to make it your own. Do you understand? So these are just different templates. I can choose this one. Maybe I can choose to change the text and write whatever I want to write. Do you see it? Everything here is editable, right? I can choose this one and I can be able to move some stuffs around, right? I can choose this one. I can move some stuffs around to change some things. Some things are not also movable. So I can choose any of these templates and choose to do whatever I want to do with any of them. But that's not the essence of what we are on Pixellab. We have to really design from scratch. So I'm done with the templates. So the next thing here, this A icon here. This A icon is for text. Anything you have to do with text, this is where you work on text with. So when I click on this A, it shows me text, which is plus. I can choose to add text here or quotes. If I click on quotes, these are quotes that I can, maybe when I'm doing a design, I want to just look for a quote and just add. I might just pick this quote, for example, this one, and it's just insets in the canvas, right? I can choose to change the font. I can choose to edit it, maybe to remove one or two things, right? I can choose to delete it, but I don't want to delete it, so I'll go back. This icon here is for go back, redo, or to go back. Then I can choose to copy, right? Let me delete it. I can choose to make this text to be in front. For example, if you have something behind the text, or if the text is at the back of something, you can choose to bring it to front or to back. You can position it by moving it upwards, downwards. You can even increase the rate at which the positioning goes to. You see, it's going to make it more faster. But when I reduce the speed is going to be what? Lower or smaller. Then I'll tick good. Then we have relative position. Relative position, shift, either if you click on this one to take it to the far left, this one takes it to the far right, this one takes it up, this takes it down, this one aligns it to the middle of the space where it is. So when I click on this now, it's in the middle. Then when I click on this is now going to align it to the middle, both horizontally and vertically. We have text size. This is where you can increase your text or reduce your text size, right? You can choose to do it manually from here by dragging towards the edge. We also have padding. Padding, this is where you can, like, you are increasing the spaces between the text and the text box. This stuff here is called the text box or the text container. So I was at padding. You can choose to increase the left padding, the right padding, whatever you feel like doing with it. You can just explore and experiment. We have color. This is where we add our color fill. We can choose any color we want. In case if the color that we want is not here, you can click on plus and go to the color wheel and choose any color of your choice, right? You can still choose to pick colors with that icon there. If you have an image where you want to pick a color from, you can import the image and use this to pick the color from that image. This is for imputing the color code. For example, if you already have a color code in mind, maybe the brand you're working for already has a color code, or they provided a color code for you, you can come here and input the color code. So for example, let's say I want to input a color code of 000. 000, like 6 zeros, like 0 into 6 places is a color code for black. So I'll just put 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 6, then I'll tick good, then I'll say okay. Then automatically the text are already black, because the text was black at the beginning, so you might not see the changes. But if I decide to change, put another color code, this color is going to do it. It's going to change. So that being said, we move forward. We have texture. Texture is when you want to add maybe an image into your text. There are some of these designs that you will see, and the texts are looking like as if designs are scattered inside. So that's what texture does. So I'll show you how we can achieve that. You just click on texture, click on this import icon here. It takes you straight to your gallery. There you can now choose what particular image you want to use as texture for that text, right? So for now, I think I would choose this image. So when I choose the image, I'll click on good. I don't know if you can see this. The image is now inside the text. You can see that, right? So now this is how we can put text. You can put images into our text using this texture icon, right? So but I don't want it, so I'm going to just go back. Good. The next thing is opacity. Opacity is the same thing as transparency. If you want to reduce or increase the transparency of your text, you can just come this way, right? The next one we have here is the rotate. You can see what rotate can do, right? To rotate it at different angles. Good. So that's what rotate can do. Next thing we have here is max. Max is a very, very useful tool, but I don't really use it that much. But it's very useful in your designs. It can help to max out a particular area of your text, maybe for a design sake. For example, now I've already maxed out here. I'll just click on good and it appears like this, right? I can still choose to go back. I can choose to go back, and instead of checking in, I'll check out. Then every other place that is not within this this shape becomes maxed out, right? So this is just it about maxing tools. I don't really use it most of the time. So the next tool here is our font, right? If you want to change the color of the font, you can just change the color of the font, maybe through the fonts you have on your Pixellab already, or through the fonts you've downloaded. So for me, I want to just change this font to main font, and I have it here, right? So the next tool here is our style tool. Style, here you can bolden the text with B. B is for bold. I is for italicize. You can choose to italicize it. You can underline your text with this. Then if you want to remove all of these effects, just click on this T that has this stroke on it, right? So we are good to go. The next tool we have here is our curve tool. This tool can curve your text, right? This text is too big, that's why it's not showing, but you can curve it into a circle, into a semicircle, and into an arc, right? So that's it. I'll just have to undo with this or go back. Good. So the next tool here is our background. Our background, this particular tool adds background to our text. So instead of you to go and start manually getting triangles and bringing text to put on top, you can just write your text, then come to background, add the background. You can change the color of the background too. This, you can increase the padding like the space between the text and the background, right? So I'm choosing to increase the left padding. So watch, you can see that the left padding is increasing. Same thing for the right, I would increase it a bit. Same thing for the top, I would increase it a bit. Same thing for the bottom, I'll increase it a bit. Then radius, if I want these sharp edges of this triangle to be a bit curved, I can choose to come here and increase it. Right, you can see that with every subsequent increase, the corners are being rounded. So when I'm done, I can choose to check, or if I don't want, I can just come here and disenable it, and I'll continue with what I'm doing. So the next tool here is my alignment to align. I can choose to left align, right? I can choose to center align, and I can choose to what? Right align. I can choose to justify. Justify is like it will add more spaces to the text, but I don't want to justify, and I want it to be left aligned. So I'll check it with good. The next one we have here is what we call spacing. We can have letter spacing where there will be spaces between the letters. So when I increase this, you can see what's happening. The letters are what? The spaces between the letters are increasing. And when I reduce it, it's getting compressed. The spaces between the letters are being compressed. Then for words, I can choose to increase the spaces between the words, right? So the space between each words are being increased or decreased when depending on whatever I want to do. So I'll check it. The next one is line spacing. This is like creating spaces between lines of text, lines of sentences. You can see what happens here, right? So this is what we call line spacing. This is what the tool does. You can use it to even beautify your text by reducing the number of lines or the number of line spacing between each sentence of your each sentence of your text. We also have stroke. Stroke is just to add a bit of stroke or a bit of border around your text. So you can choose to change the color of the stroke to whatever color you think is okay. And you can increase the stroke width, right? You see what's happening? You can increase the stroke width, you can reduce it, you can change the color. Okay, I think I like this. Then increase it, right? This is nice. The next thing we have on our list is the shadow. This is our shadow, but I want to disable this. So this is our shadow. This shadow adds, when I enable shadow, it adds shadow around my text, right? I can choose to change the color of the shadow to something interesting and something nice. So I really like this. It's actually nice. You can choose to increase the opacity, like the transparency, or reduce it. So if I reduce it now, you can see that the shadows are being faint. Then blur radius. These are like the radius of the blur around the text. When I increase it, you see what happens? The blur becomes small, right? When I reduce it. Then we have outer glow. When I enable outer glow, this is what happens. The glow becomes that blur starts to glow. So when I offset it by the X direction, this is what happens. So we don't need this for our designs. In case on extreme cases, you can choose to use this depending on how creative you are. Same thing for our offset Y, right? But for now, I don't need it. So I just wanted to show you how it works. So I will disable it and I will disable the outer shadow. So here we have inner shadow. In this case, the inner shadow, the shadow is inside, not outside. So I don't know if you can see what is happening here. The change is actually very subtle, but you can see that the shadows are inside the text, right? I can choose to increase the blur radius or decrease the blur radius, and as the case may be. So this is it for inner shadow. The next thing we have on our list is emboss. Emboss is kind of a problem for me though. It's kind of trying to make it have this plastic look, but this version of Pixellab tends to destroy that effect. So I'm not going to talk more about this in this tutorial. We have perspective, right? I can choose to drag this text to have a particular arrangement, right? You can see what I'm doing, so I'll enable it. You can see how my text now comes, right? So this is so any angle I choose to take the text, it follows me. When I choose to take it down, to follow me. So it's just for case of design, depends on whatever design you want to do. You can choose to make it as if it's on a wall, right? It depends on the perspective you use to appear as if the design is on a wall. Don't know if you get. Now it's looking like it's on a wall. So it just depends on how you arrange the perspective. So this is a very great tool for design. Very great tool. Okay, so it's looking like I have a text on the wall and it's really nice, but I need to continue, so I'll go back. Good. So the next tool on our list is this, the 3D rotates. I can choose to rotate this to the X direction, or you can see, right? Same thing goes for Y. Oh, sorry. Same thing goes for Y. You can see what's happening here. So these are just experiments. Then we can have 3D text. Sorry, I need to go back, so I'll get this to the default state. So for 3D text, it's going to make my text look 3D-ish, depending on how I arrange my settings, right? When I go to oblique, this is what I'm going to have. I don't really use much of 3D text at the moment, but I know there's a lot you can do with 3D text. You can just sit and experiment with each of these tools and see how far you can come with them, right? You can see what I'm saying here. Okay, so that's for 3D text. Then we have 3D shadow. When I enable it, it's going to give me a shadow under the text, right? I can choose to, sorry, I can choose to reduce the opacity of the shadow or increase it. Same goes for blur radius. I can choose to increase the blur radius or decrease it. I can choose to expand it, let's make it bigger, or reduce it. Then we have reflection. Let me go back. We have reflection. So when I enable reflection, this is what I have. I would have a reflection of the text underneath, right? So that's it for reflection. So basically, I'm done with the explanation for text. If you don't highlight anything on the screen, you cannot see the options to work on this text. So it's only when you highlight on the text that you get to see all these options that I just explained now, all these tools. But when you click out and nothing is highlighted on the screen, you cannot see those tools, right? So when you want to work on text, make sure this A is highlighted and the text is what is highlighted. Then you can now be able to do some of your magic with the tools that we have here, right? So when I click out, I also showed you that this plus here is for addition of text. So in case I got this text from quotes. So in case I don't want to use this quote, I can choose to delete it. Then delete it. Then let me delete this one too. Then I can come to text. Just to add new text, I'll just add new text. Then put it here. I can go to edit. Then I can change it to Steph or whatever. Then I can choose to increase it by dragging from the edge. Then I can now apply every of these two to it depending on what I want to achieve. So that is it for text. I've been able to explain text to you. So the next thing that we have to explain on our list now is this second icon here, or will I call it third icon. This icon here is our object icon. Everything about objects, both pictures, images, it takes care of everything. So when I click on this object icon, before I was on this a icon. This a icon is for text. So I'm done with a icon. I'm in this what object icon. So when I click on object icon, these are the options that I have, because there is nothing on the screen yet. There's no object on the screen, so these are the default tools I have. Let's start with stickers. Stickers are already, like, they came with this particular version of Pixellab, and with the particular version of Pixellab that you have, you can also have access to their own kinds of stickers. So these are different stickers that I have. I can choose to use them for my designs by clicking on any of them, right? I can choose to utilize them in my designs, right? So we also have some stickers again. This is sticker plus, the first one. Second one is stickers, where you can choose any of them. We also have emojis. Oh, these emojis. We also have emojis. This sticker pack works with data. I think so. Okay, the sticker plus works with what? Data. So that is it for this for the sticker. So I want to delete this now. Then the next option under the object icon is what? Is the import. This is where I get to import anything I want to design with, right? So when I click on it, I would select whatever thing I want. Maybe this, for example. I had already removed the image, the background of this image before I imported it here. So this is my image, right? This is my image. I don't know if you know something. When I click on this image, a different set of tools comes out. These tools are the tools that I can use to manipulate this object. But when I'm not highlight, when I click out, when I don't highlight, when I don't click on this image, what happens? It goes back to the default tools that are under the words, the object icon. I don't know if you understood. So let me keep this aside. I don't want to work on this particular one yet. I want to explain all these tools under the object icon before I come to explain all the tools under this text, this image that I just got. So the next option here is the draw. Just like a pencil, right? You can choose to use it to draw or scribble on the screen. So let's see how it works. When I click on it, it opens up a different a palette for me. I have a color palette. Let me choose this color. This one here is our eraser. I'll show you how it works. So this is our pen size. If I increase the pen size, this is what I have, right? If I let me undo, but when I decrease it, it becomes smaller, right? But I can still undo. So when I want to draw something, I'll just reduce the pen size. I'll choose to increase the smoothness, right? Because if I increase the smoothness, at least the drawing is going to be looking very smooth, like smoother than as it should be. So I want to undo. Then let me show you another trick. When I check this fill inside, that means that whatever I'm drawing on the screen is going to be filled. Can you see it? Good. So when I click on dashed lines, whatever I'm drawing on the screen is going to have dashed lines, right? So in case I want to just draw a rectangle, for example, good, they're going to have what? Dashed lines. So that's it. When I click on neon effects, let me uncheck dashed line. If I click on neon effects, this is what happens. The scribbles will have a glow. Whatever you write will have a glow behind it, right? So that is the effect of what? Neon effect. Then I will undo. When I increase my blur radius, I want to uncheck the neon effect. If I increase my blur radius and I draw, can you see? Can you see? It's going to make my writing blur, like kind of blur, and it's actually nice for the course of design. I can choose to erase. This icon here is my eraser. So let me erase. I'll click on it and erase. But the eraser pencil size is small, so I have to increase the pencil size so I can be able to clean as much as possible, right? So I can choose to undo or I can choose to erase depending on what I want, right? So that is it. So that's all for this draw tool. The next tool on my list, oh sorry, I have to delete this. The next tool on my list is the shape tool. This is where we get all the shapes that we want. So when I click on it, it will just by default give me this square. So when I click on this arrow, if I click on this arrow, I can see different shapes that I want. I can just say, okay, let me choose this one, for example. So from here, this is like a property place where I can choose to edit this particular shape. So let's start from color. I want to give it this color. Then opacity, I can choose to reduce it from here, right? Then I can also choose to give it a stroke. This is a stroke. I can choose to reduce the opacity of the stroke. I can also choose to give the stroke a color, right? Good. So I can also adjust the way I want the corners of the stroke to look, either this way. Can you see the subtle change? If you can look at this place, so when it's here, it's looking rounded, but when I click here, it's looking flat. When I click here, it's looking flatter, but it now came up a bit. So these are different orientations of the stroke. Then we have blur radius. When I increase the blur radius of that stroke, you can see what is happening to those strokes. They're having this glow effect, right? So that is it for object, I can still choose to change the object to something else, right? And to still maintain the addition I did on that other object. So watch, when I change it to a circle, for instance, I can still have this. So instead of me to go ahead and start editing or designing a particular object from scratch, I can just change it from here. I can change it from here and I'll still maintain the same edition, the same properties. So that is it for this. So I choose to delete it because I don't need it for this explanation anymore. The next icon here is my bizarre tool. This bizarre tool can help you to draw irregular shapes, right? It can help you to draw irregular shapes. You can get to draw irregular shapes from here. Then you tick it. Then you can still choose to give it a color. Depending, you can use it to draw irregular shapes. So that's that for the Bezier tool. So I'm going to delete it now. The next tool on my list is the arrow. This contains different arrowheads and different sizes, right? I can choose to increase this arrowhead or decrease it. I can choose to increase the size of the arrow or decrease it, as the case may be, right? I can choose this particular one. This is the arrow end. You can just play around with all of this and see what you can do with each and every one of them, right? So I can also give them a color. I can change the colors. I can increase the stroke width. I can decrease the opacity. I can add a gradient color. I didn't say anything about gradient color all this while, but I think I'm going to use this place to talk about gradient color. Gradient color is like addition of two or more colors, right? We have color, which is just one color, and we have gradients where you can mix two or more complementary colors or three colors to achieve a very sweet and interesting design. So if I want to make a gradient color, right, if I want to mix two or more colors together, this is how I do it. In as much as Pixellab might already have some already made gradients for you, but it does not have all the gradient colors. So if I want to really do mine, I'll just click on the plus icon and I have this arrangement, right? Just watch. When I click here, this is what happens. The direction changes. When I click here, it changes, right? So these are different orientations of the colors. Then you can see now this particular orientation is a place where we just have two colors mixing. So this is white, this is like transparent, and this is blue, right? So let's mix colors so we can be able to get a very good combination. For this one now, this particular arrowhead here is for this blue. This particular arrowhead here is for this part, this side. So I'll click this one first to show that this is where I want to change the color. Then I'll click on this color icon here. When I click on it, from the color wheel I can choose any color I want, or if I have a color that I want to pick, for example, I want to pick a color from this arrow, I can choose to pick it from here. Then I'll tick good, then I'll say okay. You can see what we have here, right? Good. So now I want to change the color of this side, so I'll click on this arrowhead here and make sure it is showing this pink line. Then I would click on this color. Then I can now say okay, let me choose one color from this place. Okay, I've chosen this particular one. So these are places where you can adjust the color that you choose, right? You can adjust them. I'll say okay. So let me adjust them again. Okay, so this is what we're able to get when I mixed the colors together, right? This is what I was able to achieve when I mixed the colors together. I mixed this shade of green and pink just for the purpose of this tutorial. You can just on your own particularize how to mix colors. So if I want to add another color, for example, I want to mix like three colors together, this is what I'm going to do. I'll just click on this plus and another arrowhead is going to appear, right? Another arrowhead will appear. So this arrowhead, I might choose to change the color of this arrowhead by highlighting the arrowhead and clicking on the color icon. Then and now I want to choose maybe this this yellow, then I'll say okay. Good. Can you see what we have here? So I can keep on adding color arrows here for me to keep on adding new colors, but I don't want to anymore, so I'll just click on the minus to remove color heads. Then I can just click on OK, and now you can see that my arrow already has a stroke of gradient color, right? So I've been able to explain this whole color thing to every one of us. So that being said, I'll just tick on good, but I don't need this, so I'm going to delete it. So I've been able to explain all the icons under the objects icon, right? So the next thing I'm going to do now is I want to now work on this. So I've highlighted this particular arrow. If you watch very well, all the options has changed into something else. It's changed into something else. It's even showing some of the options that we had when we were working on the text. So let's see how it is. Reselect is when you maybe you don't like this image anymore, you want to reselect another one from your gallery. You can choose to click on it. It will take you directly to your gallery where you can choose something else. But now I don't choose anything else, so I'm not selecting anything from my gallery. This is my delete icon. When I delete now, everything is out. I can choose to undo, so I can have it back. Crop. Maybe I don't want some parts of the image. I can just crop. Right. So I'm going to undo because I want all the parts. Copy. This is for duplicates. You can choose to duplicate. Right. So then I'll highlight it then to front. For example, if there is something behind, let me show you something. For example, now this object, right, let me color it so you can be able to see what I mean. This object is in front of this my arrow, so I'll highlight my arrow now and go to front. When I click on to front, it brings it in front of any object that it is behind. It will bring it to front of all the objects. It will be the first and foremost objects that you will now see. But when I click on to back, it will take it behind, right? So that's it. So then let me delete this because we don't need it anymore. Then I'll continue with this. When I click on position, just like we had during the text explanation, this goes up. When I increase the speed, it increases the speed of the movement, right? Depending on direction that you want. This is relative position. I explained this earlier, so you can experiment with this later on. These are relative size. This is where you can choose to increase or reduce the size, the width, the height, right? You can choose to disable or enable. If you disable, it's not going to increase proportionally, right? It's going to be looking so stretchy. But when I enable it, it's going to increase proportionally, right? So that's just it. The next thing on my list is color, just like we did during the text. When I was explaining for text, these are the colors. I can choose to change the color. Then gradients, I can choose to select the gradient here or choose to make my own gradient from here, depending, right? Good. So let's continue. Texture, just like when we added texture for our text, you can add texture to your images too by clicking on texture and going to your gallery, and I'm just taking anything I see and I'll just click on OK. But because I have a color on this image, the texture is not going to show. So what I will do is I would go to color and close like this, enable it, so now we can see the texture is showing on the image, right? So let's go back. The next tool here is the opacity tool. I've explained this earlier. I don't know what this enable shadow does, but it does not really add up to this opacity tool. So the next tool on my list is color filters. This is where I can choose to change the color of this image. So let's go back to the first color that this image came with, because I had already changed the image. That's why that particular tool will not work. So let's go back to the main color. I'll delete the texture. So this is the main color that this image came with. So when I go to texture, I can be able to change the color from the texture, right? can change the color to this texture. So when you go online and download images that have color, for example, you download a flower, a red flower, and if you go to Pixellab to change the color to of everything to any, maybe if it's red, but you can come to this texture and this hue. This hue will give you a very uniform color. Saturation will increase the saturation of the hue. Then brightness can brighten it depending on how you want it to be. Then we have contrast. So that is it. So next on my list is my stroke. I choose to add stroke, just like I did for test, right?